I hate this story, man. I'm never telling the story again. The next time someone asks me when I met someone, I'm just not going to say This is the last time. I was so nervous.
It's not that bad. I love that you have a voicemail from Sam Smith on there. Is that a real voicemail?
Yeah. I think I was in LA going the through it. So they very much gave me a verbal hug.
Okay, we got to talk about Couldn't Be Me. I am obsessed with this song. Like, from your perspective as the writer, as the artist, why do you think people are connecting with it? And also, what was your perspective when you were writing it?
Men are trash. A lot of people are trash.
You can say it louder. Your friend Billie Eilish once said that you are one of the best writers that she's ever met, aside from her brother Phineas. How does that make you feel?
Phineas? No, just kidding.
Like the way you let go. Couldn't be me, baby.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spout podcast. I'm your host, Tamara Dhia, and today I am joined by Jessie Reyez. What's up, girl? How are you?
Great.
Great.
Yeah, great.
Well, you should be doing great. You released Paid in Memories recently. This is your third studio album. Mm-hmm. So congratulations on that, first of all.
Thank you.
It's such a great album. I was listening to it on the way here, and I've been listening to it on repeat. Talk to me about what the difference is between this album versus your others.
I'm just better. I think I'm just ultimately a better artist. But that's not saying like final form by any means, because I think every day I just work on getting better. I'm in a love affair with the idea of self-betterment in every aspect, psychologically, mentally, like in physically, in a lot of ways. So I'm just better. Also, I've just become more skilled at objectively critiquing myself, so I could take apart songs and put them back together and do a lot more versions that I would have been comfortable with definitely doing compared to my first project. And then my second project got a little bit more freedom. Yessie got a little bit more freedom, and then this one I think is the most I've ever been able to detach from what I make to critique it objectively and then be able to fix it to the best of my ability. But even still, it got ripped out of my hands when the deadline came. But I think those are the major differences. That I'm just a better artist, better musician, and become more ruthless with editing. So by default, the product is just elevated.
Nice. Yeah, I like the saying, every day in every way, I'm getting a little bit better.
Where's that from?
I don't know. My brother told it to me like years ago, and it's like something
cute.
that I like.
That's stuck.
Just like
that's
stuck
cute.
with me. Yeah.
That's sweet. Shout out to your brother.
Yeah, always. Shout out to him. He'll love that. Okay, we got to talk about Couldn't Be Me. I am obsessed with this song. Like the first time I heard a clip of it initially online, and it was one of those songs where you immediately go to Spotify or Apple and you're like, I gotta hear this whole song. And I've had it on repeat since then. And I feel like it's connected with so many people.
She's got her face beat and she's always home, and she puts to sleep every dream of her own, and she lets you go cheat long as you come home from searching the street for someone like the one you let go. Couldn't be me, babe.
From your perspective as the writer, as the artist, why do you think people are connecting with it? And also, what was your perspective when you were writing it?
These men are trash.
What?
Just kidding. A lot of people are trash.
You can say it louder.
Guys, because this world is just so great for romantic relationships and transparency and people's motives. And it's just, isn't it that so many people can relate to that? It's like great, cool, yeah, great for the song permeating through, but on the human level, it's just that it's such a pattern that so many people can recognize. Mm-hmm. And it honestly, like, it makes me feel just a little hopeless, that I'm like, man, God, I'm like, we got smartphones, we got planes, we could throw steel in the sky and have it float, and we don't got love figured out.
I know.
Like, that's disheartening.
Arguably more complicated, right?
Huh?
Arguably more complicated.
Arguably more complicated, yeah, with tech. So love that. But it's great that the song's sweet. It's great that the song is doing great, but real that so many people relate to it. Double-edged sword.
Yeah, truly. I mean, yeah, a lot of people relate to it. Yeah, for good, for better or worse. It is a great song, though. What are you going to do? I love that you have a voicemail from Sam Smith on there. Is that a real voicemail?
Yeah. Well, not a voicemail, voice note.
Voice note.
Voice
Oh,
note.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, where were you when he was, or when they were sending that to you?
I think I was in LA going through it, and they had already had some context because we were on tour together, so they kind of knew the situation that I was in, kind of. And it's just nice to be able to not have to like give someone a season recap because they already know. So it was just like an update of like, oh, this and this and this went down, and so they very much gave me a verbal hug. A verbal mirror, a verbal wake-up call, but in the most delicate way, and a verbal hug.
Yeah, when I heard it, I was like, they're a really good friend.
It's sweet.
You can tell.
Really sweet, yeah. It's a sweet voice note.
There's another standout track on the album, Goliath, which is also another song that kind of like hits you immediately. Where were you mentally when you were writing Goliath?
Not in the best place either, but more of a positive air to it. I was at the Monsters and Strangers studio, and we had just started the day, and it was my youngest niece's birthday. And I've mentioned this in a few interviews, which is so funny because, to be honest, when I made, like, I write about my life, and I don't, when I'm making the song or even when I'm choosing the song, never am I thinking, oh, I have to be prepared to talk about this at interviews. Ever. Does that ever come into my head? So it's just ironic that I'm like poking a wound, because transparently me and my brother are kind of going through it, which is why when you said shout out to my brother, I was like, oh, that's so sweet that something stuck with him. Jesus Christ, it's so shitty to have to. Anyways, going through it. So by default, I haven't been able to see the kids in a long time.
Oh.
Yeah, and I got a bunch of nieces and nephews, and they're great. It was my youngest's birthday. I haven't been able to get a hold of her or talk to her. But then I got to on that day. And then she's small, so she didn't really understand why I got so emotional. So she was kind of like, but I got myself together, and then I swear every interview is this.
Oh,
like,
babe.
I got myself together, and then I went into the studio, and then they were playing. They already had this beautiful fucking music, and I closed my eyes, and then obviously the love I have for her was just so prevalent, and then the chorus to Goliath came out.
When I say I love you, I mean I would pull every star from the sky down, or square up with any Goliath, or moonwalk it through any fight. When I say I love you, I mean I ain't trying to do this life without you. It's a bad day until I'm around you. I was about to give up till I found you. When I say I love you.
So that's about family. That's about her. And then I'm a businesswoman and I'm strategic. So I was like, everyone doesn't understand that sort of love unless you have that connection with kids. If you have your own, or if you have family kids or friends' kids, that you just like, when you love a kid, it's different because it's the purest. It's so pure, and it's so pure, and it's so selfless. Because regardless of what's happening, I'm a waterfall for you.
Yeah.
You know. But I know everybody doesn't really understand that love or experience it or has experienced it. So because romantic love is so much more prevalent on this fucking rock we're on, I was like, cool, maybe I could lean more into that for the verses and make it a bit more universal so people could feel it.
So it came from familial love.
Familial love was the original genesis.
For the record, I also have another brother who I don't speak with, so I do get that side too.
That's ass.
Yeah.
That's ass. I hope y'all figure it out.
I have so too.
Girl.
I have
Love
so
life. We're just so much positivity here. It's the first day of my period. Hence the fucking OD emotionality right now. Sorry, Nick. I know we just met. I'm so sorry, bro.
It's okay. I mean, that's why your music is connecting with so many people, is because you put your emotions into it, and these are things that we all experience. So we don't just experience, romantic love. Love comes on so many different levels and so many different layers. So I think that's why your songs do connect so deeply. And when something like Goliath, when you hear the backstory of it, like it opens up this whole other avenue of emotion that I've kept tucked away because it's not something I actually speak about. So I think it's endearing and impressive that you are able to be so transparent. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so away from that a little bit. Ooh, I just got a little emotional myself. Gosh, okay. You have some heavy features on this album.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about Lil Wayne, because I feel like a lot of people put Lil Wayne in their top 5, and here he is on your album. How did this collaboration come about?
We worked together years ago. I had one on one of his records, and so this is our second collab. And shout out to the internet, shout out to DMs, because I hit him up and I was like, yo, just a fan. And I've been a fan like a lot of us. And he was just down. And so much of what we done has been long distance that the first time that we actually linked like to work together was when we were shooting the music video. And that's when it kind of hit the most, where I was like, oh, this is actually happening. And he came in like a pro, did a couple takes, worked it. It was just great. It was great.
Since love always hurt me, baby, I'ma need you to tell me. Since love always let me down, I'ma need you to hold me.
Did you talk with him at all? Was there what was he like?
He's what you'd hope he'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not always the case. Sometimes
Oh, trust, I know.
That's not always the case, man. Some people are assholes, but no, he's great. He's exactly what you think he'd be, man. Just a vibe. It was mad cool. We kicked it after for a bit. I hope to God we continue to keep working together,
Yeah.
And yeah, man, just a light being.
I love that you just slid in the DMs. We're like, yo, I want you on this project. What's up?
Yeah, crazy, eh? No, but the funny part is I slid in his DMs when he was working on his. And but this is years when we first started speaking years ago. He was working on his, and I'm a fan, so I was like, this sounds like, he was like, cool. I was like, if you ever need anything, ever need a vocalist, ever need a writer for for any hooks or anything, I'm here. Right? That's how it happened, no? That I hit him up when he was working on it. Yeah, I don't remember. I think that's what happened. I'm 99% sure that's what happened.
I mean, not to be the girl with the quotes, but it's like the closed mouths don't get fed.
Closed mouth
thing.
don't get
So
fed.
it's like,
Shy don't eat.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So you just got to ask what you want. You get Lil Wayne on the record.
Yeah,
Shoot.
100%.
You also have Big Sean on the track Shut Up.
Yeah.
Another standout song for me is Shut Up.
Sick.
Yeah, it was like one of those songs where I was like, I repeat.
Hey, fire.
Shut up, shut up, shut up. Might throw it in your face just to get to the shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Might throw it in your face just to get to the shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
I feel like you and Big Sean would connect a lot just because he's also very spiritually inclined.
Very spiritual, yeah.
And I know that you went to Peru to record this record. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So, did you guys vibe on that at all? I had a conversation with Sean years ago, and we geeked out on manifestation and Abraham Hicks and all that stuff.
Nice.
So I'm just curious if you guys had any, correlation with that.
No, it's just been frequency without having to unpack that. We just kind of, I don't know, he's just my friend, He's mad cool, and it's nice because sometimes when that's the core of somebody, you could feel it without having to address it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. So he's just calm. He's just calm, and it was the memory of hearing his verse for the first time once I got it back will never be lost on me. I was riding my bike, and I got to play it while the sun was setting.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it was really cool. He's a vibe.
Do you have a favorite song on the album? Does it change?
It changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes.
What is it currently?
Oh, Last One You Love. Mainly because I'm editing it right now because we're doing some live performance stuff for it. So I've been around it a little bit more, and the live performance gives it new air because I do different different runs, different choices, and so it's nice to kind of be able to make something you already love greater.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of people don't also realize that you're a prolific songwriter. I mean, aside from your own music, you wrote One Kiss with Dua Lipa and Calvin Harris, which is like a monster track. And I love that about artists. I mean, I think about Charlie Puth, who wrote Stay by the Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber, and a lot of people don't know that as well. So is there a song that you've written that maybe people don't know that you wrote?
What's the song that I wrote that I don't really talk about? Oh, yeah. I'm not here to make friends. I wrote that one. Promises with Calvin Harris and Sam Smith. Potion with Dua. There's a lot. Calvin's my guy. I do a lot with Calvin. That's the f***ing GOAT.
So you've written so many you don't even remember.
Yeah, luckily. What's the one that I was talking about the other day with the runners? French Montana and GK, like so fucking that one. Yeah, there's been a few. There's a lot. The Wikipedia isn't up to date because I looked at that like a few months ago and I was like, there's got a couple missing here. But yeah.
What's your artistic workflow when it comes to writing songs for yourself versus writing songs for other artists?
It's always the same if I'm just creating on my own, and then the decision of where it goes kind of gets made after the fact. Because if I think about it too much in the moment, then I feel like I taint something that's supposed to be pure because I'm being strategic. The same reason that I was like, when I'm making songs, I never think about what this. Some artists do that. That shit is crazy to me. But that they think of like what the music video is going to look like, what this is going to look like, what that's going to look like. I'm like, I can't, because as soon as I get out of the present moment, there's something about the chemistry changes, and then it's not as pure. But the difference that I feel that's significant is when I'm actually in the room with the artist, because then you have to be cognizant that I'm no longer the one that's driving. They're driving, and I'm there as an assistant. You know what I mean? So I'm just more sensitive to wherever it is that their compass is pointing to, and making sure that I'm pulling truth from their life and their experience, so that when they sing it, there's an added layer of conviction, as opposed to just someone reading a script.
Right.
It's different because you're talking about the shit that you've personally been through, which is an art in and of itself to get that deep with someone that quick, especially with no liquor. Because in the past, if there was liquor involved, it'd be easier. But if there's no liquor involved, you don't really have any accelerated or social lubricant that can accelerate. But I have a question that I ask a lot that kind of does that acts as a conduit to get to that level of transparent emotionality. And I ask, when's the last time you cried? Because usually that has a significant element of truth.
Yeah. I think that's a great question. I think it's a great question, especially for men, because they don't cry as often, or that we know of.
Yeah.
I think it's a great question. Your friend Billie Eilish once said that you are one of the best writers that she's ever met, aside from her brother Phineas. How does that make you feel?
Phineas. No, just kidding. That's cool. Yeah, it was sweet, man. It was sweet. I'm so grateful that they took me on tour in Europe. That was a fucking vibe. And it ended up being the jump off to my first like solo trip. I fell in love with Switzerland. But anyways, it's great. I'm happy, man. Anytime to get flowers from people who I also respect, like the respect is mutual. It's love.
What was it like writing a song with Billie Eilish?
It was cool. Never saw the light of day. maybe one day. But that's how it goes. You know, people, especially like legitimate creatives, the output is so high because you make so much, so not everything gets to see the light of day.
Yeah.
But it was cool, man. It was a vibe. Studio, me, her, and a bro.
Yeah. You've had a long-standing friendship with Drake. You recently, a few months back, were both at a Toronto Raptors game, and he literally made the camera pan to you and was like, yo. And just like basically like showered flowers on you. It was like talking about how incredible you are.
I love getting flowers.
Yeah, hell yeah. So how did your relationship with Drake first come about?
When the fuck is the first time we met? It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. But his whole squad just always shows me love, man. I fucking love Chubbs. He's the homie too. And it's also just Toronto love, you know? Like you have to be a fucking idiot not to give credit where it's due for how much he's done for the city and how much he's done for the culture, and how much he's done a lot for what was perceived as a ceiling over the city and over the country. You know, I feel like I don't feel like he's just done a lot for it. So I'm always gonna be incredibly grateful for that. And I feel like anybody that came out of fucking Toronto, anybody that came out of Canada needs to just be cognizant of that and give respect where it's due.
Yeah. Do you ever send him music before you release it and get advice from him?
Yeah, but
Long pause.
Yeah, but to get a fucking verse,
Yeah.
to get a feature, but you know, when it's meant to be, it'll be.
That was my next question, actually, because you guys collaborated on Zodiac Sign before.
That's right. Song that leaked.
Yeah.
Golly. Yeah. When it's meant to be, it'll be.
Yeah. What was that? I mean, what is that like having a song like that leak? Like, I feel like that would feel like very like invasive.
It was like, what the like, it was kind of like,
Yeah.
that was my reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hit him up because I was like, I just need you to know that wasn't me, eh? He was like, okay. I was like, that wasn't me. Because, you know, I understand if something leaks, you know, you just never know who's doing it. And then it's just because it's already in this industry, you're a little bit hesitant on who to trust.
Sure.
And that was the first thing I did is I remember just hitting him being like, I need you to know that wasn't me. And he was like, yeah, I know. I was like, okay. But whatever. At least it's out. I just really believe in divine timing. I really believe in like happens how it's supposed to. So maybe that one was supposed to leak. Maybe that one was supposed to just be out in the world and not have its own proper release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just means you're lined up for the next one, hopefully.
God willing.
Mm-hmm. What was it like working with Beyonce?
Insane. That shit was crazy. I love her. She's so fucking sick. It was nuts. And also, it was crazy because there was a lot that I didn't even get to do because at the time I was dealing with an injury that rendered me immobile and I was like stuck in Canada. And she invited us to some like premiere and it was so sick and it was so heartbreaking. But at the same time, I'm just lucky I was able to contribute. Shout out to my boy Tim Subi too, because he's the one that tagged me in on doing something as well for the project the first time that me and her worked together. And it's an honor, man. It's an honor. She is the best. It's crazy. And I just hope that we keep working. And again, her team, her host, like Marielle's a fucking thug too. She's a G, and I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful, and I hope more collaborations are in front of me for her.
Yeah, I mean, you've worked with some pretty incredible people. Have you learned anything from their like style, their working style, that you've implemented into your own?
I've always admired B's way of being able to have maintained such quality and such focus and such like unwithable level of greatness while obviously maintaining importance on family. To me, it's such a admirable thing to have done and to continue to do. That, I mean, in my own life, I don't even have my own kids. I don't have that, and I still struggle with that. I still struggle with trying to make time for like the human side of me and the family side of me and the friend side of me and what I'm trying to achieve. So to be able to see a public example of that is really beautiful. I know a lot of people do it, but not everybody does it to that level.
Right.
And I've admired her since I was a child, so it's just it's a little different. And that being said, anytime I'm in the room with somebody, I feel like I learn.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm in the room with somebody, the ethos of having it in the ethos of everyone you meet is gonna have something to teach you, I think is so clutch, because you literally can walk in like a student, and it doesn't mean that everyone's elevated or that you're under or that you're perpetually on an uphill battle, because sometimes people teach you what you don't want to be. Sometimes people teach you what you don't want to do, and it's a great thing to be able to be aware of, because then every moment in life becomes a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's a good way to look at it.
But that being said, I work with a lot of great people, so I've learned a lot of great things. But also, there's been moments in the studio where I see people's process, and I'm like, that's sick that it works for you. That's definitely not for me. Yeah, like full sessions. I hate that shit. I don't know how people do that, but some people love it.
Yeah.
Some people want the ambience of like the party, the like, I don't know, all the soup of energies. And I hate one extra person in the studio. I hate two extra people. It's too much. It's too much. It adds chemicals to the room that can potentially up the chemistry. I dislike it. So there's an example of some things that I learned that I'm like, I don't want to do that.
You've also worked with Eminem multiple times. Yeah. What was it like working with him?
Nuts, man. Nuts. I don't get nervous that often when it comes to working with people, and I was so nervous. I remember praying to God that I was like, please just make it come fluidly, as opposed to, because back then, now I don't write anymore, because I've changed my process, but there's a lot of notebooks back home, especially like notebooks piled on notebooks of writing, because I would alternate. Sometimes I could just close my eyes and it would just come, and I'd have it there, and sometimes I'd have to fight for it, and I'd have to like puzzle it out. And so I remember praying that it could just be fluid and I wouldn't have to puzzle it out.
Yeah.
And then when we got in, he played me something and I was like, okay. And I closed my eyes and that came out. And I was like, yes, fuck yeah. And I went into the booth and got it done.
You said you were nervous. Like, is that one of those things where it's like on the inside and you kind of kept your cool on the outside? No.
He knew. He must have. He must have. My team says that when I hugged him, I exhaled and I was like sick. Like that came out. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame you. Eminem, especially Beyonce, I would definitely. I don't know if I could keep my cool around Beyonce.
Couldn't keep it together. I said some dumb shit. Yeah, couldn't keep it together.
What'd you say to Beyonce?
This is in so many interviews that I hate. Please don't use this as clickbait. Like, don't use it in the title because I hate doing that because I'm like, what if she sees she's gonna think I'm talking about it in every interview? There's context to it. We were in the back of the Made in America concert festival, and at the time, I don't know if we had signed already or not. No, I don't think we'd signed. That's what was dope too, because we signed. We had signed, so I was with Island Records, but before that, there was a bidding war, and there was different labels and different companies that were trying to get me to sign with them. One of them was Rock Nation, and we had met with Tai Tai and Jay and when we decided to go with Island for multiple reasons, Jeremiah Thomas being one of them included, which is one of my guys and has been with me for like a lot of my career. And that's so funny. I have to give now so much context. David Massey from Island knew that this was my guy, and where Jeremiah went, I was gonna go, and it was really, it was really what moved the needle. Not to say that other labels weren't dope and had dope, but that's what ultimately like pulled me that way. And when I ended up going that way to Island, I remember there was a lot of like wine and dines that we got from different labels, and I was like, I want to call people personally. And I did that, and I could count on one hand the amount of people that didn't switch, because there was some presidents or some CEOs that we called and we were like, hey, like this and this, and then the energy just shifted. But there were some people that we called and we were like, we're going in with another company, and the energy was still cool.
Okay.
And Rock Nation was one of them that even after we went with them, it was still love. They were like, it's okay, we still believe in you, like you're gonna be lit, whatever. And I was like, sick. Yeah, one of the very few, because that's not normal. People will smile at you in this city and pretend like everything's cool as long as you got something to give them. And the second it's not that, then it's a switch. They didn't switch. We ended up going to that festival. I played that show. Then after, Tata was like, yeah, come backstage, come see the crew, whatever. And I go, and Jay-Z's back there, and he's like, hey, what's up, whatever. He's like, come say hi to B. And I was like, because I was so nervous. And then we go back, and then I'm like, hey, and I say hi to them, and then she was like, you did great. And I was like, what? I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm like, you watched the set? She was like, no, I saw you yesterday because I did the MTV Awards the day before. And she had seen that show where I had croaked, which was already, like, I was just nervous that she had seen that because my voice never cracks like that. And it had cracked, and she was like, it's better that way so people know you're doing it for real. And I was like, yeah, thanks. And then they're like, how are you feeling? I hate this story, man. I'm never telling the story again. The next time someone asks me when I met someone, I'm just not going to say this is the last time. So they're like, how are you feeling? And I looked at them and I said, I'm hungry. I'm feeling hungry. And they were like, there's food over here. Like, come get some food. And I looked at them and I was like, I said, no, I'm hungry for life.
It's not that bad.
It is that bad, man. It is that bad. I was like, hungry for life. And then they started giggling and I was like, and then we talked a bit more, and then I looked up and I was like, and I was like, you know what? I gotta go. I'll be right back. I gotta go. And my manager, like, they look over at me. My team's like, what do you mean you have to go? Where do you have to be right now? Where do you have to be? And I was like, I gotta go. And I left and I went outside and I went to go find some grass, and I sat my ass on the ground and I started to meditate to just ground myself because I could feel myself out of me.
Oh no!
That I was like, I need to come back. I need to be rooted because this is crazy. So then I meditated and got back to normal and went upstairs, and then I was able to be a semi-regular human being, which was great.
I'll be honest. I feel like she's had weirder things said to her.
Great. For sure. Yeah.
Like,
Jesus.
I don't think it's that bad.
Okay.
I know you wish you said something different, but I genuinely don't think it's that bad.
Okay, thanks.
You mentioned earlier that you were kind of doing this album differently because you've been on a sobriety journey. And you've mentioned in an interview saying that it has made you a better human. What do you mean by that?
Because my emotions are driving anymore. When I used to drink a lot, it's just, it takes a lot of walls down and you lose a lot of your control. And for me, in those moments, emotion would like drive. And drunk driving is bad.
True.
Yeah, and so it would just be a maniac behind the wheel, and I couldn't be trusted. And that looks like stupid decisions. It looks like saying dumb. It looks like calling people you shouldn't be calling. It's just a lot. And so now it's nice because I can trust myself, which is such a nice thing to be able to say. How could you trust the world if you can't trust you? So the fact that I could trust myself is just really nice, and take emotions and put some handcuffs on her and throw her in the back seat. So she's still back there for songs, but she don't drive the car no more.
Yeah, I was going to say, how does it affect your music?
Like I said, it's still there, and it's just nice because I have more control where I can open certain windows or open certain doors and then close them when I need to. Sadly, they're still there, but I think that's just nature of who I am and being passionate and feeling the way I feel. There's certain skeletons that are always going to be there. Certain abilities. Well, I can see some people will see them as abilities or gifts. I see it as a gift too sometimes. Like the ability to make art from sadness is a gift, and I'm grateful. But to tell you I'm always grateful would be a lie, because then sometimes I'm like, if there's someone that never makes art but they have peace in their heart, that looks a lot better than what I live. You know what I mean? But it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
And I don't expect everyone to understand, because some people could hear this and be like, you sound ungrateful, like you're living life from your art. I am grateful, but also the reason I'm able to make so much is because there's a lot in here and a lot in here and a lot back there and a lot in baggage and closets that if one day I'm able to let go of completely would be great, but it's almost like I've resolved to self-acceptance that it might just be me, and coping is better than hoping. Funny. Coping is better than hoping.
That's a bar.
Yeah.
Well, you do have your Paid in Memories tour. I mean, I saw you have a lot of dates coming up. What can fans expect from the tour?
A dope show. A better vocalist. Sick visuals. And new songs.
I can't wait. Thank you so much, Jessie. It's so nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Sorry for being late. Thank you so much.
No, it's good.